Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the Satine Phoenix tattoo controversy. And we're specifically going to talk about freelancers and how are tabletop role playing game freelancers, specifically how are Dungeons and Dragons freelancers. Actually, no, you know what? I don't think anybody's really complaining about being a Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, just about nobody is complaining about being a Dungeons and Dragons freelancer because, frankly, you won the lottery. Like you had, if you get picked to do any official Dungeons and Dragons content, you're going to be able to just roll on to whatever TTP indie projects you want, right? Because like the the best indie products in the indie tabletop role playing game products in the world don't get a fraction of the attention or sales of the absolute worst Dungeons and Dragons products, right? So basically, you don't really hear any Dungeons and Dragons freelance. I was mistreated, right? Because they've won the lottery, right? Like it's like winning an Oscar. You're going to be able to get more work, right? Like James Intertrasso, he did a podcast for a million years, and then they finally brought him up to the big leagues, and his name's in books, and he can go to whatever publisher he wants. Say, I want to publish this book. You gonna publish it for me? They're like, yeah, let's go, right? And he has a bunch of published books now, right? Because his book, he could just say, hey, real D&D 5 ebook, not some scrub 1 ebook that nobody remembers, not some tabletop, not some indie junk that nobody that is maybe is going to be on a shelf at Barnes and Nobles. This is a real book. This is on a shelf at 1,000 Barnes and Nobles all over the United States. There's my name. Done. Let's interview over. Let's go. Let's get this project done, right? And that's Intricasso and anybody else, right? The indie, it's working on a D&D official product is a real, you've arrived, okay? So here's what happened. Okay, so actually this is part of a playlist. You should watch this in context if you want full context, but you should be able to get where we're going from what I have here. But full context, this isn't a playlist. All right, and watch it in the order of playlist. All right, so here's what happened. Satine Phoenix's husband was absolute monster jerk to Post Malone's tattoo guy, and this mattered because he was punching down, and Americans care about punching down, right? Actually, tabletop role, the tabletop role playing game industry people care about punching down because everybody cares about punching down, right? There's no more shared sins, there's no more shared offenses, right? There's debate on everything except punching down. You're like, oh, big guy punching down on a little guy, that ain't cool, right? And that's exactly what happened. So that's why this thing blew up, along with a lot of other reasons why it blew up. But that's where we're at. Okay, so all right, so basically, all right. Now, the next thing people did was they were like, hey, Apotheosis Studios, which Satine Phoenix is connected to, it's run by was CEO, no longer CEO, Jameson Stone. You guys do freelancers too, and we heard not only and there was this extension. They're like, not only are you treating this poor workaday laborer tattooer bad, but you're treating your tabletop role playing game freelancers bad, right? And so I want to talk about this. Is that correct, right? Do tabletop role playing game freelancers? So this opened a discussion. This Satine Phoenix tattoo controversy reopened the very current discussion of, do tabletop role-playing game freelancers actually have it bad? Do they need a union? Do they need to be protected? Right? And it brought all this up because people were like, hey, not only do we think Jameson Stone was mistreating this tattooer, we think Satine Phoenix's husband was also mistreating tabletop role-playing game freelancers. And people conflated it and mixed it, right? So let's get into it, right? Is this true? Do tabletop role-playing game freelancers get treated poorly, right? And I'll give you my humble opinion, all right, on the matter. So first of all, it's always great to have the hard numbers, right? And there was a great post by Grim Jim that he just did on the tabletop role-playing game industry is not very professional. You can go find that on Grim Jim's channel, and he broke it down, and he's like, here's the reality. He said, one, tabletop role-playing game is outrageously unprofessional, and here's the issue, right? One, he said the money is dirt. The money is dirt everywhere. The best companies, generally the best companies in the game, are paying 10 cents a word to a freelancer. I'm going to convert that for you. That's if you write 25 if you write 20, you will get paid $25 USD for 10 pages of content at the best companies. At the worst companies, you're going to get paid, and actually, not even the worst companies. The worst companies are paying 1 cent. 1 cent a word, and what is common, according to Grim Jim, is 3 cents a word. That means that 10 pages of content, if you're lucky, you're getting $10, right? That means if you wrote 100 pages, right, for a tabletop role-playing game, you're going to get $250. That is dirt. That is dirt money, right? Like, how you even feed a family? I don't think you go feed you and your body pillow with that kind of money, right? Like that is dirt money, right? And that's the good companies, right? Imagine making, so if you take 250 and cut, imagine making $90, which is what he's saying is $100. This is crazy, right? So he's saying that at most companies, you're writing 100 pages of content, you're making $90 at 3 cents a word, right? That is bad money, right? And so how on earth can companies get away with this, paying so little? Well, here's the kicker, right? Jobs pay in different ways, okay? You don't make money when you make tabletop role-playing game content because nobody needs any more tabletop role-playing game company. Everything that is being made is completely superfluous. You can stay on Dungeons & Dragons content. They're dropping 3 books a year, which is more than you can possibly run. Nothing else that's being made in the market is needed in any way. It is all completely superfluous content, okay? So one, the stuff you're making is literally needed by no one, right? Then in addition to that, right, what is the tabletop role-playing game freelancer job? You won the lottery already, right? Look at the Uvalde police officers. They get called to a place where someone is actively shooting someone. They arrive. They put themselves in the place of danger, right? Then they put the shooter in the dirt, right? Before they leave, they make sure that the punishment is already delivered, right? Like, fully do their job, right? They're like, this person showed up. They shot a bunch of people. That person's in the dirt. We showed up. We, gave ourselves to the danger of the day, and then we took care of the problem, and this is done, right? Oh, here's an American response. You did your job. You showed at a place of outrageous occupational hazard, and you fully finished the job and make sure that the person who was doing all that shooting is in the dirt, right? No thank you, no thank you, no thank you. By the time we're done Monday morning quarterbacking, the only question is if you will have lost your pension or your freedom and you're not literally in jail. That's a real job, right? Those people have real problems. You know what the problems of a TTRPG freelancer is? Oh, some snarky words from their editor, and maybe they burn their tongue on their hot latte when they're sitting in the desk they chose in complete safety. That's the issue. That's why nobody cares about this TTRPG freelancer noise, right? The reality is every tabletop role-playing game freelancer does not need to be there. The content they're creating is completely superfluous, and they get paid dirt because nobody needs what they're making, and their job is completely safe, right? And there's no actual real problems that are actually happening in that space. And so I feel like that the tabletop role-playing game freelancer stuff, I don't think that Satine Phoenix or Jameson Stone were harming any tabletop role-playing game freelancers. Everybody who is a tabletop role-playing game freelancer is in that space because the moment you get hired for anything, it doesn't matter what your pay rate is, you already won the lottery. You're getting paid to ride a roller coaster, right? People every single year, 100 free tabletop role-playing games are released every single year. Do you know 100 plumbers who are like, hey, let me come into your house and plunge your toilet for free? No, it's not a real job, and it's not in a real industry, and nobody cares if they're underpaid because all of their material is completely superfluous, right? And the one company that's actually making needed content, Dungeons & Dragons, treats their freelancers right. And when you get that job, even if you're paid dirt for that, you can sign up for whatever indie projects you want going forward and actually connect with publishers. And that's why nobody cares, because tabletop role-playing game freelancers don't have real problems, in my humble opinion. They have very minor problems, in my humble opinion, and they can fix whatever problems they have by simply going and getting employed by any real industry, right? This industry is not about money. It's about glory. It's about passion. It's about love. It's about truth. It's about art. Starving artists is a real thing, is a known term, because everybody wants to do the job. And so nobody needs to pay for this, because if you don't like doing it, there's 100 people blind who will happily take three cents a word, frankly 1 cent a word, and there are 100 people who are doing it literally for nothing, and that does not exist in 100 other industries. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.